Hello! If you're watching this, chances are you're going through something incredibly difficult, navigating a loss. I just want you to know that this is meant to be a quiet space, a way to maybe find a little bit of structure when everything feels chaotic. So let's start. First things first, what are we even talking about here? Because this isn't just about death. It can be the loss of a job, a relationship, your health, anything that was a core part of your world. The source material has this definition that is just so powerful. It says, extreme sadness is what happens when something meaningful disappears faster than your mind can reorganize around it. It's that feeling of disorientation, like the map of your life has been suddenly redrawn and you can't find your place on it.
And right here, at the very beginning, I want to get this absolutely clear. The intensity of what you might be feeling, the pain, the confusion, all of it, that is not a sign that you are broken. It's a sign that you're human. You're going through one of the hardest things a person can go through. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you.
So where do we even begin with something this big? Well, the first step isn't about trying to feel better. It's actually about giving yourself permission to feel exactly what you're feeling, right here, right now. You know, we live in a world that treats sadness like a problem that needs to be solved, and fast. But grief just doesn't work that way. When we try to rush it or just push it down, we're often just delaying the process. The real goal isn't to get around the feeling, it's to find a way to move through it.
Let's kind of reframe how we think about this. A lot of us were taught that sadness is weakness, right? Or that crying means you've failed to keep it together. But the truth is, sadness is a release. Tears are your body giving you permission to let go of this enormous pressure. It's not failure, it's a necessary part of the process.
And this right here gets to the heart of it all. You don't have to force a smile. You don't have to pretend you're okay. Real, true healing starts the moment you finally give yourself permission to not be okay.
Okay, so once we've given ourselves that permission, we can start to, well, gently start to understand what it is we're actually mourning, because it's usually so much more than just one thing. Now, this is a question I want you to just hold. No pressure, you don't need a perfect answer, just let it sit with you for a while. What did that person, or that job, or that dream you lost, what did it truly represent in your life? See, the main loss often brings all these other secondary losses with it. You're not just mourning a person, you're mourning the future you imagined with them. You're not just mourning a career, you're mourning the identity that came with it. And just acknowledging these layers, that alone can start to ease the suffering long before the happiness comes back.
All right, so we've been looking inward. Now let's talk about the practical stuff. When you feel completely overwhelmed, what can you actually do to find even a little bit of solid ground beneath your feet?
This is so important. When your nervous system is completely freaking out, logic just doesn't work. Your mind isn't really listening. Grief is a physical thing. It lives in your body. So the very first priority is to bring some sense of calm to your body.
And look, these are not magic cures. Think of them as tiny, achievable anchors in a storm. Just focus on slowing your breath, especially the exhale. Feel the sensation of warm water on your skin. Move your body, gently, with no goal. Try to get a little food in your system. Each one is a small act that tells your body, I'm here, I'm safe, and that gives your mind a little bit of breathing room. While you're doing that physical work, it's also important to manage the stories your mind might be telling you. Loss can bring up so much undeserved guilt. This little mantra here, it's a really powerful tool to separate yourself from the event. And let me just say this as clearly as I possibly can. Your worth as a human being is constant. It was there before this happened, and it is there now. It was not created by what you lost, and it absolutely was not destroyed by it.
Grief needs to go somewhere, you know? It needs an outlet. But that doesn't mean it needs a huge audience. You don't have to perform your pain for anyone. Just find one safe, quiet way to let some of it out. Scribble in a journal without worrying about grammar. Talk to that one friend who just listens. Or just sit in silence with some music. Expressed grief starts to transform. Unexpressed grief just gets stuck.
Okay, this one is huge. Please hear this. Extreme sadness completely distorts your perspective. It makes the pain feel permanent, like it will last forever, but it won't. So this is not the time to quit your job or move across the country or make any other huge life decisions. Right now, the only goal is steadiness. That's it.
So now we're going to gently look forward. And I don't mean that in a forced, get over it kind of way. I mean exploring the quiet, slow process of what might come next. You know how in movies, healing is always this one big, dramatic aha moment? Yeah, in real life, it's almost never like that.
It's much quieter. It's the day you actually manage to stick to your morning routine. It's a 5-minute window where you suddenly realize you feel a little bit of peace. It's noticing that today, the ache in your chest is just a tiny bit less sharp than it was yesterday. Those are the real signs of rebuilding.
And this is the fundamental shift. The goal isn't to try and fill the hole that's been left behind. You can't. The goal instead is to slowly and very patiently discover the new version of yourself that exists now, in the absence of what you lost. And that just takes time.
Sometimes the weight of all this is just too much to carry by yourself, and it is so important to know that reaching out for professional support is a sign of incredible strength. It is not and never will be a weakness. So if your sadness starts to shift into just a constant state of numbness, or if you find you just can't manage your daily life, if you feel a persistent sense of hopelessness, or you lose the will to live, these are really clear signs that it's time to bring in some extra support.
There's a reason therapists and support groups exist. It's because we, as a species, were never built to handle our deepest pains in total isolation. We are wired for connection, especially when we're hurting.
As we start to wrap this up, I want to leave you with one grounding truth to hold on to. In the middle of it all, it can really feel like your life is over, but it's not. It's changing shape. You are not broken. Your life is just being reformed into something new.
And so that leads us to this final question. And again, it's not a demand for an answer. It's more of a gentle invitation toward the future. It's a question that honors everything you've lost, while also acknowledging the person who is still here, the person who is still learning and still becoming. Be gentle with yourself.